Virgo, the board is set. The pieces are in position. The room is quiet, deceptively quiet. The kind of hush that falls over a chess hall right before a master strikes with a move so devastating, so mathematically perfect, so utterly unforeseeable that the spectators will physically lean forward in their seats, certain that their eyes have deceived them. They will check the board twice, 3 times. They will look at the face of the player who just moved, searching for a bluff, a mistake, a tremor of uncertainty, and they will find none, because you, Virgo, are not bluffing. You are not guessing. You are not gambling. You have been planning this next big move in silence for longer than anyone realizes. While they were chatting, you were calculating. While they were sleeping, you were mapping. While they were celebrating small wins that meant nothing in the grand design, you were rearranging the architecture of your life in the dark, behind the curtain, beneath the floorboards of their awareness. And now the moment is here. The clock is ticking. Your hand is hovering over the piece, and when you move, the sound of it landing on its new square will echo through every room you have ever entered. You are about to surprise everyone. And I mean everyone, not the polite, manageable surprise of a new haircut or a changed opinion. I mean the earth-shaking, jaw-dropping, paradigm-shattering surprise of a person who has been underestimated as a pawn, revealing herself as the queen who has been controlling the entire game from the very first move. I want you to feel the weight of what is about to happen, because I do not think you have let yourself feel it fully. You have been so focused on the mechanics, on the logistics, on the spreadsheets and the timelines and the careful, methodical preparation that your beautiful Virgo mind demands that you have not stepped back to see the picture from above, from the aerial view, from the perspective of the universe watching you play. And from up there, Virgo, the view is breathtaking. The board is not just a board. It is a battlefield. It is a stage. It is the map of your entire life. And every piece that your opponents thought they controlled was actually dancing to a rhythm you composed months ago. They thought they were players. They were props. They thought they were making choices. They were following the script you wrote in your head at 3 in the morning while the world was too busy dreaming to notice you were awake and plotting. Your next big move is not a reaction. It is not a response to pressure or a desperate bid for change. It is a calculated, premeditated, long game execution of a strategy so elegant that when it unfolds, people will not just be surprised, they will be in awe, they will be terrified. They will be forced to re-examine every assumption they ever made about who you are and what you are capable of. And that re-examination is the real prize, not the move itself. The move is just the mechanism. The real victory is the moment when everyone who ever filed you under helpful, under reliable, under background, under support, wakes up to find that you have checkmated their entire understanding of you. Let me tell you what this move looks like, because it is already forming in your reality like a storm on the horizon. The clouds have not yet reached the shore, but the pressure has dropped. The animals have gone quiet. The air tastes like metal and possibility. For some of you, this move is professional. It is the resignation letter that lands on a desk with the weight of a grenade. Not because it is angry, but because it is final. It is the announcement that you are leaving a structure that everyone assumed you were too loyal, too dependent, too scared to leave. You are walking away from the title that looked good on paper but suffocated your soul. You are walking toward something you have not publicly named yet, something you have been building in the shadows, something that is so aligned with your true power that the people who receive your notice will feel a chill run down their spine, because they will realize in the instant they read your words that they never had you. They only had your performance. They only had your patience. They only had the version of you that was waiting for the right moment to exit, and that moment is now. For others, this move is relational. It is the boundary that becomes a wall. It is the quiet, absolute severing of ties with a person, a family, a circle, a dynamic that has been draining you for years while calling it love. You are not going to announce it with drama. You are not going to post about it. You are simply going to be gone, unavailable, untouchable, moved to a new address, a new frequency, a new life where their number does not ring through, and the shock of your absence will be louder than any argument you could have made. For others, this move is geographical, a relocation so sudden, so decisive, that the people who thought you were rooted in their town, their neighborhood, their street, will watch a moving truck pull away and feel like they are witnessing a kidnapping, except you are not being taken. You are taking yourself. You are claiming a new territory because your soul has outgrown the old one. For others, this move is creative, a launch, a reveal, a body of work, a business, a project, a creation so meticulously crafted in private that when it enters the public sphere, it will look like it materialized out of thin air. They will call it an overnight success. You will know it took 5 years of nights, and you will smile because the surprise on their faces is the interest paid on your investment of silence. But whatever form your move takes, the common thread is the same. You have been underestimated, deliberately, systematically, culturally underestimated. The world looked at your meticulous nature and saw a secretary. They looked at your patience and saw a doormat. They looked at your silence in meetings and saw a lack of ideas rather than the strategic restraint of someone who knows that speaking too early reveals the hand. They looked at your willingness to serve and saw servitude. They looked at your attention to detail and saw nitpicking. They looked at your caution and saw cowardice. And every single one of those misreadings was a gift to you. It was camouflage. It was cover. It was the invisibility cloak that allowed you to move your pieces across the board without anyone raising an alarm. You let them think you were preoccupied with the small things. You let them believe your focus was narrow. You let them assume that your standards were just a personality quirk rather than the early signs of an empire being built to specifications that would make their sloppy, rushed, corner-cutting efforts look like child's play. And now the empire is ready. The foundation has set. The walls are up. The gates are about to open. And the first thing the world is going to see is not the blueprint. It is the finished city, the skyline, the monument, the proof that while they were sleeping on you, you were building Rome. I want to talk about the silence that precedes this move, because the silence is sacred and it is about to be broken. You have been quiet lately, quieter than usual. People have noticed. They have asked if you are okay. They have commented on your distance, your distraction, your lack of availability for the usual coffee dates, the usual gossip sessions, the usual performances of friendship and collegiality that used to fill your calendar. You have been pulling back, retracting your energy, consolidating your forces, And they have interpreted this withdrawal as a sign that something is wrong with you, that you are struggling, that you are depressed, that you are losing your edge, your spark, your social grace. They could not have been more wrong. Your silence was not a symptom of defeat. It was the sound of a general moving troops in the dark. It was the sound of a surgeon scrubbing in for an operation that would change the patient's life. It was the sound of an architect reviewing the final plans before the wrecking ball swings. You were not fading, you were loading, you were not disappearing, you were aiming, and now the trigger is pulled. The missile is in the air, the move is in motion, and the silence is about to be shattered by the impact. And Virgo, I need you to prepare for the noise, because the surprise you are about to deliver will not be met with universal applause. Not at first. Shock comes before applause. Disorientation comes before understanding. The people who are about to be surprised by your big move are going to go through stages. First, denial. They will tell themselves it is not real, that you are bluffing, that you will change your mind, that this is a phase, a mood, a moment of temporary insanity that will pass if they just wait it out. Then anger. They will feel betrayed by your autonomy. They will accuse you of being selfish, of being rash, of not thinking about how your move affects them. They will try to guilt you into reversing course. They will remind you of everything they did for you, of everything you owe them, of the stability you are supposedly destroying. Then bargaining. They will offer you things to stay. Promises they never kept before, titles they never gave you, respect they never showed you, as if your move were a negotiation tactic rather than a finished decision. Then depression. They will mourn the version of you they controlled. They will grieve the loss of their assumption that you would always be there, always available, always manageable. And finally, acceptance. But by then, you will be gone. You will be so far into your new reality that their acceptance will be irrelevant. You will not need their blessing. You will not need their understanding. You will not need their applause, because the move is not for them. It is for you. And the only approval that matters is the quiet, steady, unshakable approval of your own soul. I want you to understand the chessboard from the universe's perspective, because I think it will give you the courage to make the move without looking back. Every piece on the board that you are about to sacrifice or reposition was placed there by a version of you that no longer exists. The job that looks safe was chosen by a you who was afraid. The relationship that looks stable was tolerated by a you who did not know her worth. The city that looks like home was settled in by a you who had not yet discovered her range. The identity that everyone recognizes was worn by a you who was still auditioning for a role she never wanted. And now, the you who is making this move is a different species. She is sovereign. He is self-authored. They are the finished product of every quiet battle you have fought in the dark. The you who is moving does not need the old pieces. The you who is moving is playing a different game. A bigger game. A game where the objective is not to win against others, but to become so fully, completely, undeniably yourself that the board itself expands to accommodate your new dimensions. And that expansion is what will surprise people most. They thought they knew the limits of your board. They thought the game was being played on a table that fit their comfort zone, and you are about to flip the table. You are about to reveal that the game was never on their table. It was on a mountain. It was on a map they do not have. It was in a dimension they cannot see. And your move is going to open a door in the air that leads to a landscape they did not know existed. The mechanics of the surprise are going to be flawless. That is what makes me smile when I tune into your energy. You are not going to stumble into this move. You are not going to announce it prematurely. You are not going to leak hints or seek validation or test the waters with half commitments. You are going to move with the precision of a scalpel, one clean cut, one definitive action. One moment where the old reality and the new reality are separated by a line so sharp that there is no going back. And that finality is your power. The reason people are surprised is not just because of what you are doing. It is because of how completely you are doing it. No hesitation, no apology, no looking over your shoulder. You are going to step into your new position with the posture of someone who was born to occupy it. And that posture is going to silence every critic because posture is evidence. Posture is proof. Posture is the body language of a person who has already won the internal war and is now simply collecting the external territory. When you make this move, you are going to stand differently. You are going to speak differently. You are going to look people in the eye with a steadiness that they have never seen from you before. Not because you were weak, but because you were saving your full gaze for a moment that deserved it. And this moment deserves it. I need to warn you about the loneliness of the move because it is real and you need to be ready for it. When you surprise everyone, you temporarily isolate yourself. The people who are shocked do not know how to relate to you anymore. They are intimidated by the version of you that just emerged. They are unsure of the new rules. They are walking on eggshells around your power because they do not yet know if it is safe to approach. And in that transitional space between the old circle and the new one, you are going to feel alone, not abandoned, not rejected, just alone at a higher altitude. The air is thinner up here, the view is clearer, but the company is sparser, and you need to be comfortable in that solitude. You need to resist the urge to dumb yourself down, to shrink yourself back, to apologize for the magnitude of your move, just so that people will feel comfortable enough to come back. Let them stay away. Let them adjust. Let them grow into the space required to stand beside the new you. The ones who are meant to accompany you will make the climb. The ones who are not will remain at the lower elevation, talking about the old you, the manageable you, the version of you that they preferred, and that is fine. You do not need a crowd at the summit. You need a council. You need allies who are not surprised by your power because they always saw it, even when you were hiding it. And those allies are already on their way up. They heard the news of your move. They recognized the sound of a kingdom being claimed. And they are coming not to challenge you, but to pledge their loyalty to the sovereign who finally took the throne. Your next big move is going to create a vacuum. And vacuums are dangerous because they draw in debris. There will be people who come out of the woodwork once the shockwave hits. Exes who suddenly remember your value. Colleagues who suddenly want to collaborate. Family members who suddenly want to reconcile. Opportunists who smell the shift in power and want to attach themselves to your rising star. Do not let them in, not yet. Not while the foundation of your new position is still setting. You have earned the right to be selective. You have earned the right to say, I am not accepting applications right now. You have earned the right to let the dust settle before you decide who gets access to the new you, because the new you is fresh. The new you is vulnerable in a different way. Not vulnerable to being hurt, but vulnerable to being misdirected. The momentum of your big move is strong, but it needs to be protected. It needs to be aimed. It needs to be guarded from the well-meaning but misguided advice of people who are still playing the old game. So you build a wall, not a wall of isolation, but a wall of discernment. You choose who crosses. You choose who sees the blueprint. You choose who gets to stand in the inner circle of the empire you just claimed. And you do not apologize for the exclusivity. The queen does not apologize for the gates. I want you to imagine the moment of the reveal, not the planning, not the preparation, the actual moment when the move is made public, however it happens, the email sent, the conversation had, the boxes packed, the contract signed, the post published, the door closed, the new door opened. Whatever your specific mechanism, I want you to feel the click. The sound of the lock turning on the old chapter, the sound of your own breath releasing a tension you have been carrying for years, the sound of the universe saying, finally, she moved, he moved, they moved, and in that sound there is a frequency of relief so profound that it will bring tears to your eyes. Not sad tears, tears of arrival, tears of a soldier who has been marching toward a horizon that never seemed to get closer, and who suddenly realizes that the horizon was not a place, it was a decision. And the decision has been made. You are no longer marching, you are standing. You are standing in the new place, the new role, the new life, the new power. And the view from here is exactly what you imagined it would be, except brighter, except bigger, except more yours. And then, Virgo, then comes the aftermath that no one expects, not even you, because after the surprise fades, after the shock settles, after the people who underestimated you have either adjusted or exited, there is a quiet, a deep, resonant, golden quiet. And in that quiet, you realize that the move was not the destination. The move was the key that unlocked a level of your own being that you could not access while you were still positioned in the old place. New abilities will activate, new intuitions will sharpen, new opportunities will arrive at a speed that matches your new frequency. The universe does not waste momentum. When you make a bold move, the universe responds with bold blessings. Doors that were welded shut will swing open. Resources that were hidden will surface. Allies that were waiting for a signal will reveal themselves. And the chessboard, which looked like a battlefield before the move, will start to look like a garden because the war is over. The war was always internal. The external opponents were just reflections of your own hesitation. And now that you have moved, now that you have claimed your power, now that you have surprised everyone, including the part of yourself that was still afraid, the board becomes a playground. The pieces become tools. The game becomes fun. And you, Virgo, you become the master you were always born to be. So here is your assignment as the countdown to your big move enters its final phase. First, you say nothing. You maintain the silence. You do not leak. You do not hint. You do not seek counsel from people who have never made a move this big. You keep your own counsel. You let the suspense build. Let the tension mount. Let the universe draw back the bowstring of anticipation until it is taut and humming. Second, you fortify your body. Sleep, eat, move. The move will require physical energy, not just spiritual courage. You need to be strong in your bones when the moment arrives. Third, you clear your debts, energetic debts, small obligations. Loose ends. Anything that could tether you to the old board after you have already decided to leave it. Pay what you owe. Return what you borrowed. Close what needs closing. So that when you move clean. You move free. You move with nothing dragging behind you. Fourth, you visualize the aftermath, not just the move itself, but the morning after, the week after, the month after. See yourself in the new position. See yourself thriving there. See yourself so completely at home in your new reality that the old one starts to feel like a dream you barely remember. And fifth, you commit. Fully, irreversibly. You burn the boats. You delete the backup plan. You make the move so completely that retreat is not an option. Because the only way to surprise everyone is to surprise yourself first. And the only way to surprise yourself is to go further than you ever thought you could. Virgo, the piece is in your hand. The square is illuminated. The clock is running. But you are not out of time. You are right on time. The universe has been waiting for this move since before you were born. The spectators are in their seats. The opponents are leaning forward, confident that they know your strategy, smug in their assumption that you are too careful, too cautious, too predictable to ever do something that would truly upend the game. Let them lean. Let them smile. Let them feel safe in their misreading of you. And then move. Move with everything you have. Move with the full force of your hidden power. Move with the precision of a master who has been pretending to be a novice for years just to lull the competition into complacency. Move so decisively that the sound of it echoes in their minds for the rest of their lives. Surprise them. Shock them. Checkmate them. And then, when the board has settled and the dust has cleared and the crown is finally on your head where it belongs, look up. Look around at the new kingdom you have claimed and smile because you always knew this was coming. You just let them think otherwise. If you felt the fire of this message ignite something ancient and strategic in your chest, if you know exactly what move you are about to make, if you are ready to stop hiding your power and start commanding the board, I want you to claim your sovereignty right now. Drop a comment below and write checkmate. Let the universe record your declaration. Let your own soul hear you claim the win before the world sees it coming. And if this reading found you at the exact moment you needed to remember that you are not a pawn but a queen, subscribe for more transmissions that speak the language of power to the strategist within. The board is set, your hand is steady. And Virgo, your next move is going to change everything. Make it